Wooden peg.
Hey, what's up, Don?
How you doing?
Doing well, doing well.
Good.
What's,
How'd the last one finish out? Work out well?
went pretty good. What did we highlight?
You were finishing up Steve.
Yeah, we
and
went with
his,
Steve. And then we got everybody's goals and whatnot. It went pretty good.
Good. Okay. Appreciate
That
you
was
leading
an
the.
interesting situation.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
I don't know if I put any pressure on him to talk about it, but
Yeah, I was like, I don't even know how to really address it. I mean, I know a few folks with special needs kids, but I was like, wow.
yeah, I just didn't want to ignore it. And
No, I think he appreciated it. It just kind of, and then Peter, he started giving a lot to the conversation.
did he? Okay.
Yeah, he was giving a lot, and because the wrap up was, he really appreciated the all the links Peter was giving, because he was opening them as he went, so they'd stay open when the session closed. Because if you don't get it when the session's open, then you're not getting it later.
Yep. I wonder if it. Just trying to think if it downloads.
You know, the stadium behind me is in the works of getting torn down. It's not yet, but the stadium in my background, the Aloha Stadium, there's a big deal right now. They're going to destroy it and build a crazy complex. But it's going to relocate a lot of people, because when you start doing that, you're not in Texas or Florida or someplace, lots of land. You're on an island. So it's going to relocate a lot of housing areas and whatnot.
Wow.
So it's going to be interesting.
Yep. That's kind of right downtown, isn't it? That's actually not, is it?
Not really. I mean, I mean, there's a lot around it, but it's not really right downtown, no. We used to do runs from Waikiki to there, the Great Aloha Run. Do that. It's a once a year thing. When you're done, you come into the stadium. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Let me send this thing to Brian. Did the disk debrief. Did I just do that down here? There we go. Yeah, I was sitting here looking through as he was talking, what does it mean to assault? What is assault? What happens with assault?
Right. I was like, wow. I didn't realize they could press charges against a 12-year-old. I was like,
well, they have to make a determination, right? Is he a youth or is he adult?
Right.
Given his situation, given his mental capacity and stuff, I'm sure it'd probably be a youth, and there's special protections for them, special categories. But I'm not smart enough on all that.
I was like, "Ooh, we just totally left our expertise." Like, wow.
That's right. That was the problem, right? Is we we are not smart enough in that area.
No.
Ann and Pete. And the LinkedIn guru.
Hello, everybody.
Hi there.
Oh, hello.
So this was day 23?
25.
25. Okay, I'm a couple days behind. Oh.
Almost done with this challenge.
Yeah. We had some interesting back and forth this morning about your your monthly subscription pieces. It is amazing how quickly those little charges add up to big expenses. Hey Ken, how you doing?
Doing all right. How you doing?
How could it be any better, man?
Uh, well, no, things are pretty okay. And just
Good.
a lot of work going on right now. It's just all kind of coming up at the same time. But
Is that right?
yeah, but that's all right. I have a month and a week before my retirement ceremony, so
Plenty
Wow.
of time. A month and a
Yeah.
week.
no biggie.
It'll be like tomorrow. It was just gonna go.
Yeah.
So far, the whole last week is just gone,
Yep.
Yeah.
or the last month rather. Yeah,
Yeah. I tell people to to pay attention to the emotions and just kind of enjoy it. And don't regret it. Don't try to rush it, but because time's going to move at its pace, right?
yeah,
But we'll get around and say thanks to the people.
yeah. It's
Hey,
pretty
Dion.
wild.
Pete, he's on camera.
Hey guys, sorry,
Hello.
I was having bought these $60 audio things that didn't work very well at Best Buy, so don't
That's all
fall
right.
for it.
Yeah. We have 6. No, we have 5. How would I add Michael Dion?
I don't know if Aladino wants to be with us. He may. I sent him a reminder earlier when I was in the other group. He's like, it's already 2 weeks. Like,
Yeah.
yep.
It just goes fast. Tim Bennett's not going to make it. Dennis Everett's not going to make it. We moved Mark Toner. I see James Toole has moved to alumni. Mark Toner's in the next group. Went to alumni. I think we're up to 70, 78, maybe
Wow.
79 alumni.
Hmm.
Just growing by day.
It's a good
It's going to be
number.
alumni before too long. Dion's going to be an alumni before too long. Now that he's changed, he's getting ready to start his new job.
Yeah, I started 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
You did?
Nice,
Okay.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have to become an alumni soon, but I'll talk about that.
I mean, the bottom line is you guys determine when you want to move based upon your schedule, based upon availability, based upon issues, questions that you have, based upon wanting to pour back into the group, right? So we don't kick anybody out. We just let you know that when time's getting to be an issue, you know,
You've been kicked out.
we give you the opportunity.
I
Just
got
take
2
a second.
strikes.
You get the MTR 214, you're discharged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2:14. There it is. Well, we are already past 7. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more who could be. So we're just going to get started. And this question may not be as pertinent, but it still could be a good discussion. So I'm going to jump into the education. What do we have for a spotlight last time? It was Ken. And we were talking about tech something feedback, move to tech roles. Remember what we talked about?
Yeah, so I'd gotten, I think maybe the week or two prior to that, I had gotten a lot of feedback, like saying, like, you don't have all the experience that we want for,
That's right.
tech roles. Like, I have the education, right? Education and certs, but not the experience,
Mhm.
for the big tech companies. So yeah, I had just gotten a whole lot of that feedback. But I've kind of doubled back down a little bit. So got my resume over to Gary Guzman, who's another recruiter over at AWS, and then he was pushing it up for kind of those same types of technical roles. But yeah, I mean, I'm seeing all over the news like a lot of hiring freezes and cuts and things. So I mean, we'll see what happens, but I'm going to take a swing at it.
There you go. So here's the piece that I was just in between sessions. I was at a event trying to connect with some senior leaders and companies. and this is in the architect, engineer, construction realm, and they got more work than they got people. They are thirsting for people. These architect, engineer, construction firms, environmental firms. So where the tech companies, tech stocks are way down 50 to 70%. They were way overinflated before. Earnings are coming down. They're dropping fast, and they're kind of leveling out actually. But I guess Facebook dropped another 9% last night. Meta. So Microsoft was down 7%. Apple released earnings today. I have no idea what happened.
Is this because that deal is finally going through with Twitter?
Yeah, I think that they're
There's-
good, and they're just looking at that thing getting close tomorrow with Twitter, like Dion said.
Yeah, that was happening.
But Apple was
That was
doing fine. They're probably throttling back a little bit.
Yeah. So Apple lost 3% today, and after hours they're up 0.6%. So anyway, it's very sector industry specific right now in terms of the jobs. There are some that are they can't get enough people, and there's some that are laying off people like crazy. So it's just, and who knows how it's going to pour out. But the infrastructure bill is going to, that was $1 trillion infrastructure bill, even into IT and cyber and stuff, is going to keep a bunch of people going. So to see where it all ends out.
I think some of that.
I just tell you to keep your shoulders up, keep your head up. There are jobs out there. It's going to take more effort to find them. Go ahead, Neil.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and it also depends on if you're looking at was it contractor jobs versus GS jobs and stuff like that too. Because I know for me, the job that I just took, that contract is supposed to be renewed in December, but I'm not worried about it because I will still get a paycheck. And like I said, the Mantech that I'm with, they've had this contract for like 30 years, and they're not in any jeopardy of losing it. So, but it's like for me, I was like, oh, I just got a cat card, says contractor. Thought I'd never see one of these things again, right? And then I was like, why does it expire in December? That's weird. That's 2 months from now. And it's like, yeah, as a contractor, you'll learn to hate getting new cat cards every year. So I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, the first week of December, the contract that I'm on is going to be renewed. But the reason I bring that up is because talking to some of the HR person that hired me that I took this job from, he's like, they also got to look at these resolutions and stuff that needs to get passed and stuff with DOD or whatever, because that stops a lot of their hiring and stuff too at the end of the year.
Yeah. So I think it's just it's stay in tune with the industry, stay in tune with what's happening. Don't is that a cat card?
Yes.
Dion, this is for you. I don't have the Tampa Bay logo, even though I'm in near Tampa Bay, but
Yeah.
I got my contractor ID card too.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
my
Ken-
win.
Yeah. So Ken, the key thing was what did the focus and recommendations from last time help you?
Yeah, I think so. I think it kind of it allowed me to kind of go, okay, like I think I'll still keep targeting these types of roles. And, understanding that, maybe I have to come down a level, like if I'm targeting those big tech companies, but, as a government contractor, that doesn't seem to be the case. I have a ton of like IT project management experience with some technical experience, and the combination of those things, I seem to be getting good looks from the defense side. It's just really with those couple of big tech companies I was looking at.
Okay. That was the key thing we wanted to ask. All right, let's jump into our education moment. One thing, and you guys have seen this, some of you have already gone through it, so it'll be kind of a good discussion. You get to control 3 things in your transition, right? Location, control career field, or pay and benefits. But they say you only get to control 2, right? You can go to a certain location and get a certain job, but that location there is going to drive the pay and benefits. Or you can try to get a certain pay, which is going to drive your location, but you can't get that pay in certain locations. So depending on the balance of those 3 is a possible a decision. Saw this LinkedIn post on Tuesday morning. I thought it was interesting. It kind of caught me emotionally. Who else has no freaking clue where in the world they're going to land once their spouse's military career is over? So she's a military spouse. Let me tell you, it's not a good feeling. Certain age, we can go anywhere. We drop a pin on a map. So how do you decide? And they went through and they created some criteria, which is great. What I would love, two things I would love you guys to think about, if you haven't already done this, is, and maybe you keep doing it, what are our must-haves? A great job market, affordable housing, no state income tax, an active veteran community, must be warm enough for my hubby to run, zoo, wildlife park. Did you guys use something similar like this in your decisions of where you're going to end up, or did you have different criteria? Give me a little feedback.
I kind of did a hybrid or a heuristic.
Okay.
My takeaway were the job market, probably like the first four. The warm enough hubby, run outside in the winter, I don't care. And the zoo wildlife park, I'm getting out of the military, so I was thinking plenty of that. So, the first four definitely.
Okay. Did you have any other criteria?
I think my criteria was always firm, and just my plans were the ones that jumbled around. In beginning of May, we changed course, and we ended up in Florida.
Okay. Excellent. Anybody else? Ken, how are you playing this out?
So for us, we already knew that this area ticks a lot of the boxes already. So the biggest thing is for us is the kids, and their school. So we love our school. We live right around the corner from our kids' elementary school, so walking distance. So we were already locked into location already before we get started.
Yeah. Ann, how about yourself?
So I moved from Virginia to here because, Texas is more military friendly. I started off here so I could use the Hazelwood Act. My fiance is 100% permanent total, so he don't have to pay for the property tax.
There you go.
And this is where we want to be.
Yeah, excellent. But see, that's what I think is important here is every one of us are going to have different circumstances, and we just got to think into it, right? What we had in the previous group, special needs kid. So we had to be in the right place for the right education, stuff like that. There's been, what do they call it?
Well, I have
family member. So you
just to interject in that, I have two special needs adults. So obviously being closer to them and being accessible to them was a big consideration.
Oh yeah, is this parents or in-laws or something?
No, they don't live with us. My granddaughter obviously lives with her dad. He's in Melbourne on the East Coast, and then I have a 34-year-old that's he's autistic, high functioning autistic. So we're trying to get him placed.
Yeah, there you go.
Mhm.
Here's one thing I want you to think about, and this is just an example, right? We say no state income tax, and a lot of people love to think about the no income tax in this bottom category in the bottom left, right? There's 8 states without a state income tax for military. But here's the problem, right? Texas, they're the number 3 on property tax. There's some states who have like a 0.15, and we're at 1.81. But for me, that runs about $9,000 a year. So you may not pay an income tax, but you're going to pay it in property tax. Look at Tennessee. Tennessee, no income tax, almost a 10% state sales tax, and you add on top of that the local tax. So depending how much you purchase, right? And then there's some states with flat incomes, California, 13% of income. Number 10, Wisconsin, 7.65. So always look at the entire picture. Don't just think, well, there's no income tax, but the state is going to get their money somehow for the programs and services they want to provide for the citizens. And remember, this money goes for schools, police, fire, parks, all kinds of stuff. So depending on what amenities you want to have, you need to think about, at some point you got to pay taxes so that we have the services, depending on what you want. So pros and cons, right?
Yeah, that is interesting you brought this up because like I said, when we decided on coming to Texas, right? Because I think for us it was North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, or Texas, and really came down to which one would offer the wife the better job, because I didn't care as a military guy. Mm-hmm. I was like, I can get a job anywhere, I'm good. Right. I have a paycheck coming in with my VA and retirement. Mm-hmm. I'll figure it out until I get the job that I want. But The reason I say that is because, like I said, for most parents with kids or whatever, it's the schooling and the education system, right? And so for us, where we bought it at, so we've got a house in that area, but what we didn't know was, yeah, there's no state income tax or taxes for Texas, but you got zoning fees and county fees and all these other things. That's why I put in there fees, right? And
Fees, yeah.
I call them fees. They don't call them taxes, but there's fees for everything. I think for where my kid goes to school, there's like 3 different fees that I'm like, hell, I might as well just have paid a state income tax to offset some of this stuff. But it's definitely, like you said, you got to do a lot of the research or whatever. It's like, okay, it's good. There's no fees, but what's the behind the scenes thing? Nothing is completely free.
That's right. You know, think about it. I'm not trying to pick on the southern states, but they always route out at the lowest in terms of education.
Hey, Dion, that's true, but for me, and I just threw it in the chat. It was my spouse income as well, because as soon as I was off the active duty roles, then she started paying. She would have to start paying state taxes as well. I was like,
Yeah, and then I took a page out of Anna's book, and I was like, oh, we had a job board. It was like the wife, I was like, all right, we got to compare all 40 states, which one has the better thing. And it was weird because we had, you know, me being in the Army, I got dry erase boards for everything. So yeah, I wish I still had it. But like I said, when we moved, I was like, I don't need this thing anymore. But it was full of pros and cons for all of them, and
There you go.
what we need to make to maintain as if I was still an E7 in the military with all those benefits. Like that's how we came up with all this stuff. And we started that, like I said, about 5 years back, as stuff slowly started changing when we started seeing property going up. So it was like, I think the best bang for our buck would be down there, because Maryland, we weren't staying there.
Yeah.
I don't wish that evil on anybody.
Yep. Yeah. I really kind of prompted it for 2 reasons. One, to think about what criteria you would use. And it's not maybe just on the location, but the other things, right? That lady, she came back with, we had these 5 or 6 things. So think about, you know, what does it mean from what time of military active community? What kind of services, right? What kind of schools? And then think about the bigger picture. So yeah, one criteria I was not planning on was a 7% mortgage.
Oh,
exactly.
It's crazy.
that really came out in the last 6 months.
Ouch.
So
actually, that hasn't. I haven't closed yet, so it'll probably go to 7.75 by the time we're done.
oh, you haven't locked it in?
We're unlocked at, but I don't know that the lock period is going to hold with
okay.
the construction delays.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. And who knew about all the logistics pieces, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, let's move into wins and challenges. I don't know if Michael, you want to do wins and challenges for this group too?
Yeah. Sure.
Dion, we'd love for you to do wins and challenges in the future. I didn't want to just throw it at you tonight, but
Absolutely, I am game.
why don't you do it then? Michael did it at 4 o'clock, so we want to pull you guys in and start giving you some experience. So wins and challenges. Dion, why don't you lead us?
All right. So, well, first I would tell you that, yeah, wins and challenges, that's the easiest part of this, having a conversation with people. All I gotta do is write notes.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll start with where my screen is here, and you got you over here first, Mike.
Okay. So wins and challenges. This 2 weeks ago, tomorrow, my son graduated from boot camp. That's a great win. So he's a baby in the Marine Corps now. A few weeks, I want to say 2 weeks before he graduated, my daughter moved out. So she's a baby and learning she spread her wings and flew. So, and she just took a new job in the area she's working in with special needs children. So that was an interesting conversation earlier, Don. And it's, the win of that is watching your children grow and mature. The challenge of that is, just as with any time as a parent, is Okay, okay, stand back, stand back. Don't say nothing. Let them get it. Let them get it. Let them.
Yep.
And our mom wanting to, oh, we're gonna give them that. No, 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 you don't.
Yeah.
The
You
first
want,
time my daughter came over to do the last minute touch-ups, I said, no, you're gonna fill the holes. Nothing major. We taught her how to take care of stuff. So it's just like spackling and vacuuming. That's it, really. And she went to get my refrigerator. I said, what are you doing? You don't live here. She's like, "Nah." I said, no, here's a bottle of orange juice. You can take that. What do you need? I'll give you some stuff, but you're not eating here today.
I hear you. Like I tell my daughter all the time, I was like, you're gonna get an itemized receipt.
Yeah.
I'll
So
bring,
it's
I'll buy all
it's
the
truly
stuff that's needed, and you can buy what you want. I'll bring in the need.
right. Yeah, it's
You guys-
it's
you guys are
truly good to
tough,
see
man.
them spread their wings and
Yeah.
start growing and making their way. Like yesterday, I posted a without any picture eye candy for it. I sat down with my son and he got renter's insurance, which is something I didn't know about when I was in, because if you lost gear, you just paid for it. With renter's insurance, his gear is covered to a point. To a point. I mean, you can't be totally negligent, but yeah. So I was like, cool. Well,
Yeah, I
that's the
didn't,
wins and challenges.
yeah, I didn't know that was a thing too. Till I was probably about 11 years in, and I had a couple of soldiers that had those issues or whatever with PCSing and all this other stuff or whatever. Or when we were in Germany or whatever, and not Germany, I'm sorry, in Carolina with all the Bragg with all the hurricanes and all this stuff got destroyed. And so I didn't know anything about that until oddly enough, a retired mentor of mine was like, you know, renter's insurance covers that stuff. I was like, no, and that's nothing that anybody has ever told me before. But
Right. Yeah.
but
All right.
it was like put your own, scratch in a serial number of some kind, take pictures of barcodes and stuff, and go from there.
It's
Yep,
it.
absolutely.
All right.
Yeah. All right,
Keep
we'll
going.
move to you, and you're next on my screen.
Hello, everybody. So my wins is I got my Texas life and health license,
All right.
Oh,
and balancing
Right on
the
time.
PMI. What's that?
right on time with Medicare open enrollment coming up.
Yeah, but I'm still in the learning mode, so I still need some help while I practice about how to learn about life insurance and what I can do to help out. But also, I'm balancing the PMI ACP course that I'm doing through O2O and the Certified Financial Planner. So that's like starting college all over again. But at least the good thing is that I went straight to insurance rather than, you know, other classes, because I just took my exam. Challenges is still the VA disability. So I don't know if you guys know, but you can go into the TRICARE online to look at your DBQs. And when I looked on there, everything that I put in for a claim, they show is not service connected. So they're only tracking my basic training time, which is 1998, and my OBC 2003, but my HER time, they're not tracking at all. So that's all I saw on there. So today I went to, was it Centurion Military?
CMA, Centurion Military
CMA,
Alliance.
I went there, and I also talked to Jane Babcock,
Babcock. Good.
and so I just need to talk to the Bexar County and see what they can do. I did talk to Texas Veteran Commission before, because it was, you know, that's the rep that I had. You know, she didn't respond, and then they were supposed to give me the next supervisor, and they did. So right now that I have the time and I'm done with my skill bridge, I'm done with the O2O class that I had to do, this is my main focus. Because at first I was like, they're telling me, oh, everything's good to go. But then I see something, I keep seeing more mistakes, and I want to have one-on-one with somebody, you know. So that's my challenge.
Did
Sorry
Jane
to-
tell you that she's able to get you a one-to-one somewhere?
I got some information from Jimmy from TVC.
Okay.
Yeah, I know for TVC, when I call it, I don't know who your person is you talked to, but I talked to a Sharon Stewart, I believe her name is.
good lady.
Yeah, and I know for her, I know she's down there in you guys' area, but she connected me with somebody that's up here, and they're pretty responsive. I guess when it comes to TVT, it depends on who you talk to or whatever. But Sharon is real active on LinkedIn as well with
She's
was it
Yeah,
the
I talked to Sharon. She told me to wait. She said,
Oh.
if it doesn't turn out right, and I don't want to wait till after, you know,
Mhm.
especially when they say everything's not service connected.
Yep.
And she told me that a supervisor gonna contact me, and that hadn't happened. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes me
I call her
wonder.
back and ask her.
Yeah, makes me
Let her
wonder if two questions. One, is it documented in your medical record? And two, were they able to get a copy of the medical record?
yeah, which I can't see on the VA.gov.
Right.
Yeah. Well, when you submitted your stuff, did you submit your records from that time frame?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, at least you
should
gave
have
them a manual copy, so they should have access to it anyway.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to talk to someone that can see it and see what was actually uploaded in there, because they said that some stuff was uploaded, but it wasn't documented. It was just files.
Yeah. A couple
Hmm.
years after I got to Texas, I did a supplemental, and I sent a copy of my medical records, and they never got to the organization, even though they were signed for. I sent them return receipt requested. They were signed for, and the person I was talking to is the person that was on the receipt, and he says he doesn't have it. I had to send a whole nother copy, and I'm like, you kidding me? You're gonna lose another copy of my medical records? And so I went to somebody else. So it's good to verify that you may have sent it. Did they get it? Do they have it? So I don't want to tell you horror stories, but I love what you're doing, which is you're going through checking all the blocks.
Yep. And there's that follow-up piece that is always vital afterwards. It's like, all right, I sent it. I give them a little bit of time, and then all right, I need to call and make sure where we at with stuff.
Mhm.
All right, Ken, you're next in my screen.
Hooray. Okay. So I had a handful of wins. I got a little bit of interest, from a couple of recruiters and talking to them, and I'd kind of taken that next step to rework my resume, for those technical roles at AWS, gave that to Gary, and he was like following up. Still kind of waiting to hear back from that. But at this point, I have tons of time. I have like 8 months before I retire. With that said, I had my first government civilian interview, which was really interesting. That it was one that somebody contacted me out of the blue, and it turned out to be absolutely not the job that I thought it was. So, but it was good practice. It was with DCMA Boeing in St. Louis and it was like a computer engineer role. I was like, cool, I got that. And then once they started talking, it was for avionics on aircraft, and I was like, that's not my scene. But I spun some stories, and I actually felt like I did pretty okay, but I was completely unqualified for that role. Once they read me the description, not a big deal.
Good practice, though.
It's always interesting too, because I still get those too, and I was like, I'm listening to what you're saying. This has nothing to do with anything on my resume whatsoever.
Right.
I was like, it sounds great. I think I know a couple of people that might be interested, but that's not my alley.
Right. I mean, if I was like, if this was crunch time and I was like seriously gunning for roles, I don't know if I would have taken it. But since I was like, I've never had a government civilian interview before, I was like, you know what? Why not? And then, so it was really interesting, and good practice. But and then, so challenges, lots of them. Kind of good and bad. Had a lot of medical appointments the last couple of weeks. Found out the polyp that got removed was, they consider that precancerous, but not cancerous, thank God. So I was like, oh God, okay. And then and then my neurologist had some not so great news for me, but nothing too terrible, but just more chronic ailments, I guess, which is good and bad, of course, because it sucks physically, but at least, VA time, hopefully that will pan out. Yeah, and then yeah, so I kind of fell short on my goals. So I only hit 20% in this AWS course that I'm doing right now versus the 25 I was trying to hit. So that was pretty rough, but it's a really good course. It's a lot of labs. So that, each one of the 15-minute things, it requires, like 30 minutes of work, because you have to follow along and do all the steps, but I'll keep working it. It's just I've been doing work at home, like work from work, like EPRs and promotion packages and all sorts of stuff, like more than half the days the last couple of weeks. So yeah, so I'm really looking forward to my replacement getting here.
Yeah. Once you close those loops and finalize those EPRs, it's like the greatest feeling ever. Because like I got it anymore. Because I know
Right.
once they identified my replacement, I started changing raters. Started doing all of, I think I had like 18 of them I did. I was so happy.
Yep.
And they were asking me about mine. I was like, no, I don't need one. However, I have one made for you. But I was like, I don't think I ever signed mine to get out, but I told him I don't need one either.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great thing. And then you brought up a interesting point earlier about if it's crunch time, whether or not to just take a job to have a job too. I think that might be an interesting thing to talk about later or down the line. Because I think at one point when you get close to where it is, where you're at your I'm out the military, you start panicking or whatever. And you start thinking about that. Do I just take this to take it? Or do I just wait it out to get what I want? And I'd be interested to hear what everybody has to say on that one. I know I passed on a couple of them because I was like, nah, I'm going to wait this out for what I want. And depending on which Dion I'm talking to at this point, is like, oh, that was a good thing or that was a bad thing. But all right, Pete, we're to you.
Wins, and Don will appreciate this one, Don, because this week I just started a subcontractor job for Booz Allen at JA in CENTCOM. So that was a big win. So I think that is good to be. I said no, I was not going to do it, not going back to the government, but I think it's good it feels very familiar, and it feels you're still making a difference. So I think I'm okay with that. Yes, I will end up in the skiff reading TSSCI and then doing whatever needs to be done on there. So I did say I was not going to drink out of that water. But tapping into what Dion was saying, somebody comes to me in the offer, I'm game. I'm your babe, for not to say another word. So I'm game. You can do it for me, whatever. So I mean, when Deloitte posted me with the offer, and I was very gracious to it, I took it. And it was a great onboarding, but it just fell through. It just wasn't the right fit. And now it feels great. Challenges, I am going to probably lean on a little bit more with Ken, because now I just can't be relaxed. I just got to pile more and then pile more and pile more and pile more. And then when my calendar gets full, just pile more on it. So now I signed up for VetTech, and I start next week on security and then ethical and the DevOps. I never done DevOps. I don't know what to expect, but it was an career opportunity for me to jump it, and I just took it. So that's it.
Okay. Sorry, Dion, go ahead.
I was like, that's good. Yeah. I thought I would never deal with skiff life again, but this job that I took, I work in a skiff. So I was like, the only good thing is I have my own office within that skiff with a window, which I never knew skiffs had windows. I always read about them, they can have them, but I've never been in one that actually has it. So it's kind of weird to me. And I was like,
the window.
Yeah, it's like, and it's a real window, not one of those fake windows. It just can't open because it just doesn't open. But sunlight comes in through, you can look out and look at freedom. But
All right.
most of the time, it's got that double opaque shade thing, so you can't see in it. Triple soundproof, so you can't hear nothing coming out of there. And you know how skiffs are built. But like Ann said, you never say never. The only like I said, good part is it's not shift work. I refuse to do shift work again. So
Yeah.
Hey,
I like Ann's comment. Make sure you take vitamin D in the skiff.
why vitamin D? I'm missing that one.
D.
Sunlight, lack of sunlight.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
no, there's a window.
right.
There's a window there.
Yeah.
funny thing is, when I went and did one of my medical appointments not too long ago, and it was like, yeah, vitamin D deficient. You need some vitamin D pills. I was like, stuck in the building all day with no windows. What do you expect?
You take some breaks and walk outside.
Maybe you can
Hey.
appreciate it, but I'm at the beach. I got a good tan going here.
All right, let's move into the spotlight here. So anybody got an issue they want to bring forward? We got about
Yeah, why can I just live a happy life and not study ever again?
Because
You can.
You choose not to.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, that spotlight's over. Next one.
that
Next,
could be the shortest one ever.
next.
Nice.
How many folks, a question for you guys, how many folks do you know that are not financially prepared for retirement? That
Oh,
that right?
a ton of them.
I'm one of them.
Okay.
And I think
No, I'm fine. Actually, it's I was able to reduce debt considerably and improve credit rating considerably. So we're looking good for the our paperwork when it's time to close.
Okay. And it's going to be kind of like what we talked in the education moment, right? It's going to be different for every person. You know, how much they want to, how much they need saved now, how much they want to save for retirement, what kind of things they want to do in retirement, sit and watch TV all day or travel the world, right?
right. And I would tell you, I said both of those things, but I can't sit still.
Yeah.
I can't sit still. I mean, I've planned some trips and been on some trips or whatever, but I was like, I got to get up and go do something.
Yeah.
So, but I think a lot of people that I talk to, it's one of those things where they didn't think the retirement was going to come up so fast, or they're close to retirement or getting out, or it was one of those things that like, I'm going to stay in until the Army kicks me out. But again, life happens and you have to make those decisions. And then for some people, they don't have that contingency plan until, you know what, I'm dropping my retirement packet. I got a year to try to figure it out, but there was no planning. And so now it's like, all right, how do I figure this out? How do I figure out what my pay range is to still live comfortable and not struggle? And then, like I said, if you compound that with family and kids and stuff, and where you want to be or where you're going to be at, then a lot of that pressure and that trying to figure out, people go into survival, fight or flight. So that's what I've noticed. I know for me, like I said, once I got toward the end of it, like, okay, this is really over. I mean, I got a job right now, but I really can't go in there and be like, hey, first sergeant, I got an answer to that for you. Because I don't have one anymore. I'm my own first sergeant and the wife is Meyer 6. So I'll talk to her as a commander. But a lot of people, like I said, I think it's, you've known one thing forever for a long period of time. And so you're used to that structured environment and not having to worry about any of that stuff. But then once that is no longer an option, it's like, what are my options?
Yep. Yeah. So I talked to a New York Life agent today, and they would love to be able to talk to our military within the program here. And I said, I don't give names, but I will post in Slack your information. If people want to contact you to talk financial planning, insurance, stuff like that, you can. But I want to be careful about protecting.
I had a summary. I took advantage of it. I did it. Was done by USAA, and it did a very comprehensive job. What it came back to me, and you guys are getting in financial planning now, it's probably going to be more obvious to you. It was just when they look at the time series and you look late in the years when you're all in decrepit, 89 years old, and you passed, then how much money would your wife, which in my case, she'd be 6 years behind me, would need in order to survive that time. I didn't take the spousal SBP because I think it's just overrated. So I just took the child only. And I bought a policy for her, or we purchased a policy together, for that. But I am also going to take advantage of whatever VA disability in it, and I'm just going to put it away, not even see it.
There you go.
Question is, my question is, and I guess I'll ask you guys, if I do it pre-tax, I can enjoy an offset by my company. They contribute certain percentage. I think it's 6%. And if I do a Roth, and the hell with it, they don't contribute, but I pay taxes now. I don't pay taxes when that money's pulled out.
Yeah. So, I mean, and really you can do both, right? So, you either have your 401k or you have your TSP if you're on the government side, right? But that doesn't stop you from also contributing to an IRA or a Roth IRA, right?
Okay.
So you can do both, and the contribution limits are about to go up to, what is it, 22,500 for the 401ks and maybe TSP. They haven't announced that yet. And then 6,500 for IRA or Roth IRA. So you have a lot of options.
But I'm actually very interested in the catch up because those limits have gone up too. So,
right.
And that's probably my bucket fund to fund her in case, life takes me first, and that way she doesn't have to go get a boyfriend at 89.
Well, honestly, it's one of those things where I don't know if you talked to your wife about that or whatnot. Because I know when me and my wife were doing it, I mean, we went with Northwestern Mutual, sitting down with those guys. They had a pretty good plan, and then we bought a policy for my kid to start her at 17, but I haven't told her she's taking over those payments when she turns 19. So I give her a year buffer. But it's one of those things where like I told her, like I said, well, my wife's older than me, so hopefully I don't die before her, or we die at the same time and we're good to go. But it's also one of those things where we look at our lifestyle and how we live, what payments, what we have going on right now. And I think the number that you guys come up with, it really depends on, like Ann put in there, how much you make, what your salary is, based off how much you can put away and save and stuff or whatever. Because I would tell you, like me being in the military, like being at certain duty stations, I can live off of the COLA and BAH and never touch my regular paycheck. And we was putting that stuff away and it was perfectly fine. But in some other locations, not necessarily the case. But it's definitely a conversation to sit down and actually look at. And it's okay if I die at, I don't know, what is it, like 60 or 70, whatever the number, the base number that they use is, like, what is it that you're actually are you trying to have money to go on vacation and live out your bucket list at that point? Or is it, I'm going to struggle to pay off the house and mortgages and cars and whatever other debts that you still have?
So Ann, you had a comment in there about look forward to the IRS.
Yes.
Give a little more detail.
Whether you're an entrepreneur or you're working somewhere, you have to look at where your bracket is. And so if Roth is better for you because you want to say, hey, I'm not making that much because a lot of them is going towards my investment, then you don't have to pay too much into your your tax at the end. So you got to look at all the different things that what you want, what you can afford to do, and what you can afford later.
Yep. And you always remember you have the backdoor Roth, right? You can take it as a traditional, and then you can always backdoor it in and pay the tax.
Yep. And then you said something about TSPs and stuff earlier too, but I know for me, when I got out the military, like my contributions to TSP, I don't know if I can still give contributions anymore. So like that stuff is just sitting there going up and down. I know for the year that I've been out, I lost a nice amount of money just based off the market and stuff. But I know once I left my last job, Raytheon, what I put aside there, I just rolled over into the TSP. So I used the TSP as my back and forth, as in, all right, I quit this job. This is what I had in there. And just roll it over into this one. Whenever I decide, if I decide that this is not it for me and I need another job, whatever I contribute here, I'll just roll it over into that one too.
That's right. Here's something that made we lost you, Dion. You want mute?
Oh, I'm sorry. I think the TSP is one of the safest things out there, depending on what choices you choose or whatever.
Yep.
So yeah, I use that as a, like I said, a repository for my rollovers to everything else. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of things to look at. Luckily for me, my wife is finance for DOD and she knows all these ins and outs.
Yep.
And I go, you tell me what I need to put on my contribution sheet.
That's right. Yeah. All right. So we're down to about 5 minutes, 7 minutes. Anybody else have another issue? I don't know if that helped you, Pete.
I mean, it does. You know, that's what I keep coming back. They always do. They always help, and you pick up always good tips and things that you can do, you know, to improve your position.
Yep.
I started this about 3 years ago, and like Ken, just going for the education because I'm a little older and I knew I had to compete with a younger cohort getting out and looking for jobs.
Mhm.
But like Ken, I'm finding myself, oh, well, you know, you don't have the experience. I'm like, well, shit, I got 22 years experience in the military. That's not enough. So yeah, I'm finding, I wouldn't call it ageism, but I wouldn't be surprised if that, I don't know.
Yeah.
If somebody puts a word behind it.
Yep. Now, here's one
Yeah.
thing that helped me with the market and stuff was, on average, the market drops 10% every year. On average, every 3 to 5 years, it drops 20%. On average, every 5 to 8 years, it drops 30% to 40%. Well, guess what? It's been 5 to 8 years and we're dropping down. You know, NASDAQ was down 33% at one point. S&P Dow Jones was down around 20. So 2023. So we're in that heavier one, but it's been a heck of a ride the last couple of years with returns of 25, 30%. So, but you know, here's the big thing. It always comes back.
Yes.
The market goes down faster than it goes up, but it always goes up more than it comes down in the long run. So
Yeah, and
just don't get scared. And a couple of years ago, I jumped out at one point because man, the market was going down. I sold out of a whole bunch of stuff, and within about 3 days, it was back up 5% and kept going north. And I lost 5% before I jumped back in. So you got to be careful. Go ahead, Pete.
no, it's okay. That's fine. Don't worry about it. I saw the comment that Ann put in, and I agree with her. But you know, it also depends on your timeline. If you're starting young, like Michael's son, L phones would be great. But if you're looking to do 10, if you're down to 10 years, L funds might not be the best way to go.
All right.
Yep. The beauty is, though, also, and this is where I was with the retirement, with the Booz Allen salary. I was only 20% disability, so I wasn't really getting anything there. But I was actually saving like 40% of my salary for 10 years that I was in Booz Allen. And that happened to be some nice years of return. So it really helped me get way beyond where I was hoping to get. So, so you got an opportunity now with all these, like somebody said, Pete, I think you take that whole disability, bank it. You know, if you can live on the current salary you get, you know, you can bank retirement. You can save a whole lot of money. Okay. Anything else on that one?
One more comment. This is for Michael. Hey, since your son is in the Marines, I know he's got the death gratuity and he's got the 400 SGLI. He might, if he's got money other than for party, he might be good advice for him to invest in life insurance now.
No, absolutely. We've already got one for him. We may hold it for a while, like my parents did on mine, because at one point I would have bought a truck with my life insurance. Had my financial investor said, "Don't be stupid." Said, "Don't be stupid," Because I've had that policy since I was about 19.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Your key is your hope at some point is to become financially, what is it?
It's a lot.
You don't need insurance because you've got so much money that you don't need insurance. I can't remember the word. But then at some point, then you got to have insurance to be able to cover all the taxes on all the money you might have if you get way high.
Mhm.
But that's millions and millions and millions. We're talking Forbes rich.
Mm.
All right. Was there any other issue anybody had? I know we only got like a minute or two. I want to focus on one thing, which is I made a post the other day and I got a lot of shares. And it was this one here. Whoops. And it was, your real competition isn't always other people. It's these things right here. And we've used this in almost every cohort so far this week. And it's gotten a lot of good conversation. So go back to my LinkedIn and look at that post and think about it. Which things impact you and what can you do? A lot of us hit ego, knowledge, just lack of discipline has always been one. Even though we're really disciplined from the military, we find that in other areas, we're not so disciplined. Distractions has been a real big one. Bad habits. Right?
If we had another hour, I can talk about all of this and how I self-sabotaged.
Yeah. So we don't have enough time to talk about it, but I just wanted to throw it up there and get you guys thinking about it.
No doubt.
All right. Accountability. I've seen Matt down there, so he must be sitting at the bar. He's at Alamo Brewery with the Rotary doing pints for polio. So they're doing a blood bank trying to raise money for getting rid of polio. For the Rotary, the number one issue is getting rid of polio in the world. And the number two, I think, is human trafficking. So if you're in San Antonio, he is really trying to get the word out on the military Rotary group and trying to get it started. So, all right, let's go around the room. Ann, accountability next 2 weeks.
So like Ken, doing the percentage. My PMI ACP is at 10%, and I'm trying to get to 25% by our next meeting. And then I put in exercise one of my discipline. I've been doing my 10K steps a day, but I need to do something else. And I'm like, when's a good time for me to work out? That's and then we can talk about it. So that's my next step.
Yeah.
Either HIIT training or kettlebell. That's the goal.
Yep. Which time of the day has always been the best for you?
None.
None? Okay.
It's just been busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just find if I don't go at 5 o'clock, if I wait till 6 or 7, I don't do it. I start thinking about work.
6 a.m. or 8 p.m. One of the two.
Okay. Dion, accountability.
Yeah, so I wasn't here the last week. So being at this new job, accountability. So I signed up for 3 certifications that I need to take for my current position.
Mhm.
And it's following up to make sure it gets done. So believe it or not, I work for Mantech, but I am on loan and borrowed to the Air Force. And so I got to figure out how I can get them to pay for these certifications because I have to have a government sponsor, right? And since the contract is with the Air Force, trying to get them to do it. The problem is, just like when I was in the Army as well, is that when you ask for stuff and it doesn't go right, it's like the first time it's ever happened. So no one knows what the problem is.
Yeah.
But you talk to any number of people, it's like, this happened before. All they got to do is do X, Y, Z or whatever. And then I don't want to tell people how to do their job, right? I'm trying to stay away from that because it's not my role. Like, well, this is an easy fix. Send this to X, Y, Z. So I'm letting things run its course before I go back into proverbial drill sergeant mode. So I can get, and the reason I say that is because one of the certifications is in its you can take it for free so they can gather what the baselines are going to be, right? And that expires next Saturday, right? And I'm still trying to get that approval for that one.
There you go.
But
What do you mean by on loan to the Air Force? I mean, you're a contractor by Mantech. You won a contract. You're on the contract, the butts and seats to the Air Force. So
Yes.
you're sitting in an Air Force seat, but you're not an Air Force person. You're just a contractor in the seat. Am I reading that wrong?
No, you're correct. It's like
Okay.
Mantech pays my bills, but the Air Force has me in their AO sitting in their seat.
Yeah, yeah. And they're giving you the daily direction, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Pete, accountability.
Sorry about that. Give me 1 second. I am starting a workout regimen next week. So basically my wife's working from home and I'm coming in a little bit too early. So I'm just gonna take that time and invest it on myself a little bit.
All right.
What else I had? No, that and finish so in hiring our heroes, they give you the opportunity to take some courses through Simply Learn. They pay for it. And I'm just about 75% done on a data science. I just gotta finish that and do the project and be done with it. So don't try to clean that up.
That's a good advantage. You don't want to lose out on that one. Get it done.
No, because
Get her
you were
done.
you were yeah, no, because what's coming ahead now, it's gonna take a lot of my time. I don't want to leave that dragon either. So
All right. Ken.
All right. So yeah, so I only made it to 20% for my AWS study. That's up 5% from the last 2 weeks. So I'm gonna try again to get 10% by the next 2 weeks, which will get me up to 30.
Okay.
I think the only way I'm going to do that is to create a new morning routine. I've been driving down to the YMCA to work out in the mornings, but I think I'm going to start doing it here in my office, do some of that, maybe some HIITs type stuff. I'm going to experiment, but I need more time in this room looking at that screen. And then I need to build a new resume for some NGA computer engineering roles that just popped up.
Okay.
Why not?
Yeah.
They're government civilian roles.
Okay. All right. And Michael.
I'm gonna start getting more of a presence on LinkedIn again, because I kind of took a time out and haven't been around very much. Kind of stepped away with all this going on with the family and the graduation and all that good stuff, and start reestablishing there. Probably 3 to 5 posts and legitimate posts, not just good, like try to do some things.
Staying in the networking like you've been doing, supporting people.
Yes.
Okay. Because that's always been real good. Yeah.
I would say Ken's been real good about it lately.
Yeah, he has. So is Ann.
Yeah, Ann's all over it.
Yeah. Good stuff too. Yeah, you guys are doing really well. So we got a minute or so. Ann, what have you learned about yourself by day 25 on posting every day?
So today when I went to the CMA event, Dr. Shantae Hall, at first I wasn't sure if she knew who I was. And then by lunchtime, she's like, "Oh, are you posting this tonight?" And I'm like, "Not tonight, tomorrow." And so she gathered some people and we took pictures together and she's like, "Okay, here, send me the stuff." And I told her I'll post it tomorrow. So
good.
I'll link the people that came there to support. One was Steve Miller from USAA.
Yeah, great guy.
And another one is Glenn, trying to remember his last name. And he's from RBFCU.
Yep.
So,
Randolph Brooks. Yeah. Errolt, I think is.
Because I can only post with 3 people and 3 places. So I can only put so much in there in 3 pictures. That's part of the challenge.
Oh, okay. Who's it from? Who's the challenge from?
LinkedIn Heart Mode. This is my 3rd time doing it with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good. And how about yourself in terms of posting? What'd you learn about yourself?
So I learned a little bit in that I feel like I need to get a little bit faster with the way that I I put them together because I'll like agonize over the wording for like forever, and it'll just be kind of open, you know.
Michael's laughing up there with knowledge. Yep.
Yeah, it's a little bit nut. I have
It comes with time. It comes
yeah,
with time.
I think so. And I'm used to more of a long form anyway. Like I like to blog, but I'll spend like a whole day writing a post, which is not good.
No,
So
that's not good.
yeah, but just building that muscle.
Yeah. All right. So within the next day or so, we should be sending out to all the registrants what you see behind me, the panel we did on the 18th. And then the one Matt tried to do on the 20th, he redid tonight. So as long as everything went good on that, he should be able to send that out hopefully in a week or so to everybody. And they did it last week, but the system we're using didn't send out the link, so nobody joined, and it didn't work for recording, so they redid it tonight. So we'll still get that out to everybody. So I just want to remind everybody that for the holidays, we've realigned sessions, right? So instead of we meet as regularly scheduled until the week of Thanksgiving, we don't meet that week as scheduled. We bump it back a week. And then the week after that, we bump it back, and then we cancel the one around Christmas. So we got like a 3-week break around Christmas, and then we start back up
Christmas
that first week of January. So just we've sent out the updates, so make sure that those have accepted on your computers. And I think that's all I had. So you guys have a good couple weeks. Thanks, Dion, for jumping through the wins and challenges.
Yeah,
Dion was a pro, man.
That's right.
Yes, he was.
Well, my Matt is going to just retire, and Dion be running this.
He's going to become a full-time military Rotary guy, I think.
All right.
I'm gonna end up like you, Pete. I'm just gonna keep filling my calendar up, and it's like I don't got time for me anymore.
Oh, please don't. Please
Yeah.
don't.
What time do your Buccaneers play tonight?
Oh, they're playing right now. They're surviving right now.
Oh, are they?
They're surviving right now.
I was just looking on TV, and I guess we don't get it here. Not on YouTube.
Yeah, but
It's in the first quarter more than surviving.
Amazon. So if you ain't got Amazon Prime, it's like, where do I watch it at?
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys have a good couple weeks.
Thank
Reach out if you have any
you.
questions.
Bye.
Gentlemen.
Good luck on the training. Good luck on the interviews.
Okay.
Have a good one now.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Take care.